Hello, everyone, and welcome to the big show. This is Investing and Trading Live, sponsored by Trading Academy. If you're a first-time listener, thank you for stopping by. My name is Josh Lilquist, and we are happy to have you with us today. Once again, as always, I have my good friend and my good pal. He is the one and the only Al Connickson. Al, how are you doing today?
You know what? I feel pretty good, Josh, and looking forward to the show as always. How about you?
I'm doing really good. We always have a great time talking about the financial markets and shedding some light on how they work, the do's and the don'ts of the stock market. And it's one of those things that people just don't really understand what it really is. And hopefully we can enlighten people on the opportunities that are showing themselves with the markets every single day. There's opportunities for income strategies. There's also opportunities for retirement strategies, 401ks and IRAs, especially with the current market conditions. We're seeing a lot of people come into our investing classes that we do right here at our academy. You know, everyday people, working folks, civilian is what they would call it, and coming to see what are those opportunities, you know, with retirement accounts. You know, hopefully people have got back to break even where they were, 2, 3, 4 years ago, and we're seeing people say, oh, you know what, they just haven't done anything, and I can't afford to just wait, and hopefully I have enough for retirement time. So they want to do things a little bit differently. So we're going to talk about some of that stuff here today. And our sponsor, Trading Academy, over 26 years actually, teaching people just like you how to trade and invest. We are actually on our, 970th podcast.
Closing in on 1,000.
We're going to have a big party when we hit 1,000 on the podcast, so stay tuned for that. By the way, if you do miss part of the show, go to Investing and Trading Live on the podcast, on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. But as this market has moved this week, it's been a very, we'll say, interesting 7 days or so in the markets.
Really?
Obviously, Monday the market was not open, but last week on the 12th, we've seen a big drop in the market. It gapped down pretty big, and then the next day it didn't do a whole lot, and then it actually shot right back up to where it was. And I'm looking at the S&P 500 here, all-time highs. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, it's really started to drop again on the markets, the overall markets. We know what happened Thursday. We know what happened Friday. And some of the opportunities that are there is there's obviously strategies for up markets. There's obviously strategies for down markets, which we'll discuss here on the show. But it doesn't matter which way this market goes because we just want it to move. And that's what I want you to discuss here a little bit today and shed some light on is the opportunities just to have the market move. You don't have to just only hope it goes up. So what are you seeing with this volatile market, which is a great thing for traders and investors? I believe 2 weeks ago you mentioned that the market was a trader's market.
Exactly.
And I want you to just talk about some of those opportunities that you're seeing with this great moves in the market.
Yeah, well, first of all, let me tell you the difference between a trader and an advisor. Most people use a financial advisor, but most of our students are here as students at the Trading Academy because they want to learn how to trade. Traders buy and sell. Advisors buy and hold, and there's a huge difference there. You mentioned the big moves up and down in the market. We've seen these huge moves, and for a lot of people that's scary, and for a lot of people it results in their portfolios not doing well, maybe even going down in value. We look at that as great opportunities. If you know how to trade properly, these are the kinds of markets that you want to see to be able to generate especially short-term income. You mentioned that a lot of people don't understand the markets. Why is that? Were they not paying attention in school?
You mean they teach this in school?
Well, that's the problem. They don't teach this in school. So people have a tendency to guess at what else, give their opinion. Opinions are just guesses as to what might happen. What you have to do if you want to be successful is to understand what the facts are, what factually moves price, and why. Look at the institutions. Look at the big banks, Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan. Look at the hedge fund managers, people like Warren Buffett. Some of these people are getting triple-digit returns on an annual basis. What about the public? If you go back from about 2002 to 2021, I've got the stats there. The average investor had about a 3.6% return.
Think about that for a second. Say you have $100,000, that's $3,600, and as my good friend Jim Carrey said in one of his movies, "Whoopity-doo."
Double whoopity-doo. Yeah, well, in the S&P 500 during that time period was up 9.5%. That's a huge difference.
Yeah, why is that?
Well, when you look at the 3.6%, by the way, what about inflation? What was the impact of inflation for your total return, the buying power of the money that you made?
So it was probably negative
zero.
then.
It was 0 to negative, actually. And for a while there, the inflation rate was up around 9%.
Yeah, the Fed usually targets like 2 to 3%, but let's just say that is that target. You're at a 1%
Sure.
return.
Yeah.
What is that going to do for you?
Yeah, and they're having a hard time getting it down to 2%. So
Yeah.
what's the problem? Are people stupid, or are they just?
Well, this is a
have no
family show,
understanding?
Al. We got to be nice to people.
Well, and here's the problem: they have been basically misled. There's a
There you
number
go.
of myths that are out there that people have kind of fallen victim to. That really has been perpetuated by Wall Street. The financial markets are a multi-billion, maybe even trillion-dollar industry, and they have to make sure that they maintain the profits that they make from that industry. So the public is misled to the point where they feel they have to use Wall Street to be able to do well. But that as I just mentioned, the average investor saw about a 3.6% return, whereas the advisors were much greater than that. So in this next segment, let's talk about why that is and how you cannot be taken advantage of by those myths.
Yeah, let's stay tuned on the next segment here. I got a couple more things I want to discuss here. You mentioned, and not to poo-poo advisors. I have some friends that are advisors, and they're great people, and that's what we've been seeing a lot of people come to these classes now that I'm going to give seats away to, is they come in and say, yeah, my guy or my gal, they're a good guy or gal, and we were discussing yesterday, nobody goes in that industry and is a complete butthead, right? So they have to... They have to do that because they need to get their clients to trust them, give them their monies, right? Well, you mentioned there's a lot of myths in the market, and let's be the myth busters today. How about that? Let's pull back the curtain on a lot of this stuff. That way, at least our listeners know what's going on.
Right.
But knowing is the first part. Taking action and doing something a little bit differently, that's the next part. That is these free investing classes that I'm going to give away some seats to right now for people that want to come in and do things a little bit differently, have the opportunities for their best interest, not their money manager. So to come into one of these classes, simply text the word investing to the number 210 right now for 2 seats. You're going to get a text right back, and you can pick your own date. We got classes actually all across the metro area. So text investing to the number 210. Or you can also go online to otamin.com. That's OTAMINN.com. Coming up next, we're going to pull back the curtain, as I mentioned. We're going to talk about those myths in the markets, but really the opportunities that us as retail investors that are there for us, that are just waiting for us to say, hey, come and take advantage of us and start using opportunities for your interest. This is Josh and Al, Investing and Trading Live. We will be right back.